Bruce, on the ice, we know what the Lightning can bring. We knew what the Panthers could bring. Is there a challenge at this time of year for a team coming from a northern place like Vancouver, going on a road trip to Florida? Is there a worry that, it is maybe a bit tough to focus on the task at hand?
No, not at all. I mean, if we have to worry about focusing on the task with this being our job and the position we're in, then we don't have the right players, and we shouldn't be here. We know what we're up against. We know how good they are, and we know we didn't play great last night. So we know we're going to have to put our best foot forward against a really good team, and we will act accordingly, whether it's today in practice or at night or ready to go. Florida's nice, but we're here to win. We're not here to sit on the beach.
And just with Ashton Sautner, obviously tough situation there. He'll have to stay at the hotel, I guess, for 5 days, and then hopefully travel on, join you guys, and I can maybe stay in the U.S. a bit longer, I guess.
Yeah, it's really funny how this is all gone. It seems like we get one at a time. I mean, maybe two on certain days, but I mean, I just find it surprising, but it's unfortunate for him being called up and having to sit behind, but we'll wait for him and probably see him in Nashville.
We'll go to Ben Kuzma, Post Media.
Hey, Bruce, a couple from me. I'm sure as a coach who's been in the game a long time, you have a level of admiration for Tampa Bay that has back-to-back championships. Luke talked earlier about the fact that people tend to forget that when they won a President's Trophy, they were also swept in the first round, and that this is an evolving team. It's not one-dimensional. It's not about offense. They block as many shots as any team in the league. Can you take something from that and impart it to your group, Bruce, about taking that next crucial step as a team?
Well, I mean, that's what winners do. I mean, and that's why you win championships, because great players do the little things that they're supposed to do. So, I mean, we talk about that a lot, and it's not just the third and fourth liners that block shots, or 5 and 6D. You got McDonough and Hedman leading the way in blocking shots. I mean, that's pretty impressive. You got Stamkos back checking as hard as anyone. That's why you win cups. And winning is not easy. So I mean, we talk to our players about doing this. It's not easy. Doing a streak or coming back is not easy. But I mean, that's what winners do. So we talk about it a lot.
And in your short time here with Luke, have you seen how he's kind of brought that championship mentality to your group, understanding that there's the physical aspect of the game, but the more importantly is to not let one loss bleed into 2 or 3?
He's been great. Like, I mean, his attitude, his demeanor, you can tell he's won. He's the consummate team player. I mean, he was lucky enough. People told him he was done years ago, and he was determined enough to play. He did a great job in Tampa, and I think he's doing a great job for us. So I mean, when Luke talks, people should listen to him, because he knows what he's talking about. He's a very high first-round draft choice that's won 2 Stanley Cups, and I don't think there's too many guys in that room that can say the same thing.
We'll go to Jeff Patterson, North Beach Agency.
Hey, Bruce, sort of a 10-game overview now that you've had 10 games. Outside of Quinn, you don't get an awful lot of offense from the back end. And I'm just wondering if on the good teams you've coached, sort of the role of the defense jumping into the rush and providing a second layer of offense, and with the guys that you've got to work with, is there more to give here, or is that just something that you're going to have to work around?
Well, I don't want to work around it. I want to make it happen. I mean, if we can, you need more than one guy like Quinn to be able to jump into the play, to be able to create some offense from the defense. If you don't have that, look at all the good teams in the NHL. You take the top 10, their defense are all mobile, and they can rack up points, and they create offense from the defense. And of course, we would like more of that. I mean, but sometimes we just don't have the personnel for that kind of play. So when you don't do that, you better shut other teams down. But I mean, when you're looking at things that you would like, another mobile puck moving defenseman is always comes to the top of my list. I've been really fortunate to have defensemen that can do that, whether it was Minnesota, where we were always in the top 2 or 3 offensive defensemen. I had Mike Green, who scored 30 goals. The Cam Fowler and Hampus Lindholm were very good mobile defensemen. So, I mean, I've been really lucky. And but I think the best of them all is Quinn. But, I mean, obviously we could use some more of that.
Yeah, in the 10 games that you've coached, all of your goals have been scored by forwards. I mean, Quinn hit a post last night. Is it just is that sort of an anomaly and a fluky thing, or is there more that because there's nothing that says the defenseman can't score goals. You saw Ekblad score last night. Makar's going nuts in Colorado, obviously. Is it just one of those things that a defenseman hasn't scored for you yet?
It's not. I mean, I wish they would have scored. I'm not denying them to score. I mean, we want them to score. We want them to jump into the play and try to score. So, I mean, it just hasn't happened. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. But I mean, no one's sitting there and saying, I don't want my defenseman to score. We want them to be that fourth man in the play. We want them to be up there and create offense as much as anybody.
We'll go to Ian McIntyre, Sportsnet.
Never thought I'd say, Bruce, after all these years that I miss watching practice, but I would like to have seen your team practice today after last night's game. Can you tell us what it was like, what kind of response, energy, things like that?
Well, it was more of a teaching practice. I mean, we worked on some things that we definitely didn't do well last night. I mean, but probably the video session was more telling than anything today. We went over an awful lot of the mistakes that we can't make against good teams. And we did them last night. We pretty well did them all. So, I mean, but it's not a question of sitting here and having a skate for an hour and 20 minutes and making them work hard. I mean, we have to get better, but there's different ways to do it than grinding them. We got 4 games in 6 nights starting tomorrow. So, I mean, it's I think they got the message loud and clear, but it wasn't through punishing them with a punishing skate or anything.
And a lot of people, including your boss, Jim Rutherford, when he was hired, he's talked about this road trip as being kind of a barometer for this team and where it's at by the end of it. But given the circumstances and especially the layoff, not playing, do you think it's fair that we're going to judge your team the way we are against these 6 very good teams?
Well, fair or not fair, it's reality. I mean, we're gonna definitely know where we are at the end of the 7-game stint, because the 7th game is at home against St. Louis too. So, I mean, and I think they're one of the elite teams in the league. So these 7 games are gonna say whether we've got a chance to do something serious here, or whether we're going to have to fight and claw and put another 8 to 10 game win streak together just to make the playoffs.
We'll go to Daniel Wagner, Glacier Media.
Bruce, you've talked about short shifts before, brought it up again yesterday. When I was looking at the shift lengths, the person who's taking the shortest shifts compared to where they were before is Quinn Hughes. But meanwhile, his total minutes are up. Is it really important for a player like him, especially with the up-tempo system that you have the team playing, that he in particular takes shorter shifts because of the amount of skating that he does?
Well, not only him, but everybody. I mean, last night we had guys that took, I think overall was probably the longest shifts. We had guys in the 50-second shift area, and we hadn't had anybody in there. It's usually between 35 and 45 for this team, which is a great change team when it comes to short shifts. But as far as Quinn goes, I mean, obviously the shorter the shift, he's going to keep going back out there, but the shorter the shift for a small guy, he's got a lot of energy. And that's so that would make sense to me for him to have short shifts.
And it seems to be the case for the defensemen across the board. In terms of forwards, it seems like they were taking shorter shifts before the coaching change as well. They're about the same, but the defense is particularly shorter. Is there something to that? Or are you really emphasizing the defensemen in particular when it comes to short shifts?
No, we're emphasizing everybody, and I mean, if they're taking shorter shifts, it's because we're in a position to do it. We'll get the puck deeper, and we're not trapped in our own zone for a minute and a half at a time. And those are the shifts that really bring up your ice times.